This meeting along with us, Professor Lal, Dean Faculty of Science, Professor Rajiva Raman, Head Department of Zoology, delegates, friends, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you to this Indo-US Symposium on genetic disorders with focus on hemoglobinopathies. I must confess, this is not an ordinary pleasure. It's an exceptional experience for me, one who has been trained in the Department of Zoology and then joined there as a faculty and had a little bit of work done in the areas of animal cytogenetics and genetics. I did dream that we should be able to do enough work in human genetics. Dreams are meant to be dreamt. It's not always that they are accomplished. I consider it a privilege to be here today to see that yes, we are holding for the first time a meeting completely dedicated to human and clinical genetics. And that's an exceptional privilege for me. It's also an acknowledgement, of course, of the fact that we now realize that genetic disorders are not as rare as one thought they are. It's also acknowledgement of the fact that genetic disorders are not as intractable as we feared they are. Yes, actually we realize that there would hardly be a disorder of any nature that we think of which would not have a genetic predisposition. It would also be difficult now to realize or to visualize a disorder which would be typically monogenic. Such is the expanse of genetics and genetic disorders. And it's also the matter, therefore, of concern. The topic, as you would realize, has broad genetic disorders, which also focuses on hemoglobinopathies. And what I said a moment ago could not be better illustrated than hemoglobinopathies. We are all familiar with thalassemias. This is one of the disorders which is relatively common. And actually, when you think of it, you realize how common it is. You would know that in India, leave alone other parts of the world, more than 10,000 children every year are born with thalassemia major. The carrier frequency in India is roughly estimated is likely to be 4%, which would mean that out of 100 people sitting here, maybe 4 of us are carriers of thalassemia. Such daunting is the task. What is satisfying is that perhaps there are good efforts made to see how we can manage them. And that is where it is necessary that we think in terms of genetic disorders more seriously. It's not only monogenic disorders. I mean, if you just think of it, 1 out of 150 children are likely to be suffering. Live-born children is likely to have a chromosomal disorder. 20 out of 100 eggs that woman produces is likely to be aneuploid. These things did not look that something, a big task in our hand. And that's why I feel again, that's a great pleasure for me and privilege that I'm here in a meeting which addresses these questions. This meeting is also special for one more reason, and that is, there are lots of fusions. Genetics are all fusions. Fusion of ivory tower within course which I don't like. Scientists who have moved a little ahead and moved into what we call a service. A fusion between scientists and clinicians. Fusion of institutional clinicians and private clinicians or practitioners. Fusion of scientists, practitioners, and society at large. All this fusion of connections, because unfortunately genetic disorders are. You see a Memachandi sitting there and Balram sitting here, a Bert Lubin here and a Stan Gartner there, scientists and doctors coming together. And that is another privilege that we have with us today. I welcome you therefore to this meeting with great pleasure. I'm very conscious that there have been pitfalls in our arrangements, and there have been potholes on the roads. Potholes we could not have helped, pitfalls we could have, and we have had many of them. I seek to be forgiven. I'm only reminded of once, about 25 years ago, when Charles Redding was here, the recombination man, and we had similar pitfalls and maybe more. he said that he cared for the aroma of science. Gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, I should say, please inhale this aroma of science. A word to my students. It is in Hindi a very common saying that you can bring the horse to the well, but you can't make him drink. We have done something more. We have brought the well to the horse. Please drink your heart's content. Thank you very much.